Everyone wants to invest in real estate for the cash flow. But here's the problem. Most new investors are doing the math completely wrong. They think they're buying a cash flowing asset. What they're actually buying is a money pit, and they don't realize it until it's too late. In this Chalkboard real estate investing video, I'm going to show you how to accurately calculate cash flow the right way so you can avoid the rookie mistakes that wreck most real estate deals. Let's get right into it. The cash flow formula is one of the simplest formulas in real estate investing. It is total income minus total expenses equals cash flow. But you would be surprised at how many investors screw this up. First, let's start with the simple half of the equation, the income. Rental income is usually black and white. If you have 4 apartments and each one rents for $1,000 per month, then your rental monthly income is $4,000. Easy. You might also have some miscellaneous income like laundry, storage, or maybe parking. That income can fluctuate a bit, but if the property has been rented for a while, you can use the past year to get a pretty accurate monthly average. Even for short-term rentals, if you got a year of history, you can average it out. So let's say, for example, a property brings in $4,000 in rent and another $200 from laundry per month. That gives us a total of $4,200 in monthly income. Straightforward, right? But here's where most people mess up. They subtract the mortgage, the taxes, and the insurance, and then they stop. And they say, that's my cash flow. Really? Yeah, some of them even manage to rack up over 600,000 views on YouTube talking about how they regret buying so many so-called cash flowing rentals. But that's for another video. The point is, they're missing a huge part of the expenses side of the equation. To accurately calculate cash flow, you need to subtract all the real costs of owning and operating the property. And I don't mean just the obvious ones. I mean the sneaky ones too, the ones that don't show up every month but still eat into your returns over time. Here's what you actually need to account for. And just keep in mind, this is not an all-exhaustive list. These are just the most common and the largest expenses I've come across. Depending on your property and the area it's located in, there may be several others. Number 1, mortgage payment. 2, property taxes. 3, insurance. 4, flood insurance if applicable. 5, vacancy. 6, repairs and maintenance. 7, capital expenditures. 8, utilities you pay as the landlord. 9, water, sewer, garbage, if landlord paid. 10, HOA fees, if applicable. 11, legal fees. 12, municipal licenses, certificates, or occupancy permits. Now, let's slow down and talk through a few of these in more detail, especially the ones new investors love to ignore. First up, vacancy. No matter how great your property is, there will be months where a unit is empty. Tenants move out, units need cleaning and turnover, and sometimes it takes time to find a new tenant. That downtime costs you money. A good rule of thumb is to budget between 3% and 10% of your gross rents for vacancy. If your unit is in a high demand area, you can stay on the lower end. If it's in a tough rental market or has unique features that limit your tenant pool, you should plan for more. Next, repairs and maintenance. Toilets break, appliances wear out, tenants punch holes in walls or forget to take out their garbage, and if you're the landlord, you're footing the bill for all of that. Repairs and maintenance typically run between 5% and 20% of gross rents. Use the higher end if the property is older, larger, or poorly maintained, or if your tenants tend to be rough on the place. For newer properties with more hands-on tenants, you can probably budget less. Then there's the capital expenditures, or CapEx. This covers replacing, not repairing or maintaining, the big-ticket stuff. Roofs, driveways, furnaces, windows, plumbing, these aren't monthly costs, but when they hit hard. You need to set aside money every month before these expenses sneak up on you. I recommend budgeting between 1% and 20% of gross rents, depending on the property's age and condition. Think of it like a rainy day fund. You're not just covering today, you're preparing for tomorrow. The last thing you want to do is to completely ignore these expenses and then have to foot a giant bill for a new roof or an HVAC system when you might not have the cash readily available. If you own just one property and you're a responsible person in your own financial life, you may have the necessary amount of money for something like this in your personal checking account. And that's fine. You may get away with skipping saving for this expense. But We're talking about building good business habits and planning for the future. If you're here watching this video, you're interested in creating financial independence and leaving the 9-to-5 grind. So you should be approaching real estate investing like a business, not a hobby. Serious investors budget for everything. I recommend that you do too. Okay, let's put it all together with a real example. We've got a 4-unit property. Each unit rents for $1,000 per month. That's $4,000 in rental income, plus another $200 from laundry income. Total monthly income, $4,200. Now let's go through realistic monthly expenses that you might see on a property like this. Mortgage, $2,100 per month. Taxes, city, county, and school, $500 per month. Insurance, $150 per month. Utilities like gas and electric, $200 per month. Water, sewer, garbage, $175 per month. Licenses and occupancy permits, $25 per month. Legal fees, $100 per month. Now let's calculate our percentage-based expenses. Vacancy, 5% of $4,200 equals $210. Repairs and maintenance, 10% of $4,000 in rent equals $400. Capital expenditures, 5% of $4,000 of rent equals $200. Now let's total all of these monthly expenses. The total comes to $3,860. Now subtract that from our total income of $4,200. The final monthly cash flow is $340, and that's real cash flow, not a fantasy number you guessed after subtracting just the mortgage. Look, anyone can make a spreadsheet say whatever they want, but if you only do a surface level analysis, you're setting yourself up for trouble. Real estate can be an amazing investment, but only if the numbers work. Cash flow isn't just about the rent minus the mortgage. It's about understanding the full financial picture of what it costs to run the property every single month. So take the time to do it right before you buy, because the last thing you want is to find out after the closing that your cash flowing deal is actually bleeding you dry. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe for more no-fluff real estate breakdowns like this one. And if you want to go even deeper into how to analyze a rental property, especially when it comes to evaluating long-term returns, check out my video on how to calculate the internal rate of return, or IRR. Tap or click the screen, and I'll see you there.